To conduct an analysis of how you've split your income, it is quite important to have a number of pays going into the system. I'm going to put this to the point where we've had 3 pays go in and 2 lots of expenses entered so far. So if we look at this budget now, I'm just going to click into petrol. We can see that 3 pays have gone in, 2 lots of expenses have been recorded. I just want you to note the difference between the number of expenses being recorded and the number of pays having gone in, because when you go to do an analysis of your income split, and you can get to that from any screen at all, it's important that up the top, if you haven't been running the budget for a whole year, you actually tell the budget how many loads of expenses. It says here how many expense periods have been put in. We've done 2. So I'm entering that figure there, and then here's what happens. It tells you how much you've spent so far in the year. If there was a previous 12 months, you can do an analysis to see how your life has changed in the last 12 months. It tells you in this column the split you've actually allocated, but in this column the split you need to allocate to cater for the expenses actually incurred. For example, if we look at the petrol line, $350 has been allocated, but according to the way you actually buy your petrol, only $270 is needed in the split, showing you that you have a positive variance of $81. In contrast, food, you've only allocated $900, you actually spend $1,000, and insurance, you've only allocated $215, you've actually spent $300 per pay cycle. Now, with something like insurance, you take that with a grain of salt because you know the bills only come in every 3 or 4 months, so that's not going to be that accurate. But something like food and petrol become really interesting, and this is where I would suggest perhaps modeling your split. You can do a test split over here, doing a split based more on what it thinks you should actually do. So it thinks petrol should be $270, I'll make that $270. It thinks that food, I'll make food $1,000. It thinks, and I'm going to leave insurance just the way it is on $215 because I based that on all of my old bills, and savings I'm going to leave at $5035. Now it tells me down the bottom I have over allocated by $20. I need to cut something back. I could be easy on myself and take it out of savings, or I could be tougher on myself and say I'll spend less on food. I'm going to take it out of savings. I need to make this figure here 0 so that I have not over allocated myself. I'll make that 5015. Good. I've got $8,000 in my income. I've allocated $8,000 with a slightly different split. These are now the variances I'm looking at instead of these variances. And this button here, apply tested split, will now take my new split figures and throw them onto my regular split. So I hit that button. It then takes my new split, and if I click over to my income split sheet, it shows me that that new split has been applied. Not to what's happened already. I'm going to jump over. So we changed food. No, we changed petrol to $270. I'm going to go over to petrol now. The old one is still there. This is going to apply to any new pays that I put in from this point. So that's how you do an analysis of your income split. Have a good look at what the variance should be, do a test of it, and when you've split that up well, click this button and it actually applies that new split based on reality, based on what's actually required. It applies that to your budget instead.